Hey guys, it is John. Today is Thursday, August 20th, and I thought I'd run through my day. Today was a really busy day, so I didn't get a chance to stop and film as much as I wanted to because I was with clients and I wasn't able to just pull out the camera. So my day started very early, as it always does. I was up at basically around 5:30. Did my exercises, took a shower, had breakfast, did some of my reel posts. Then I actually had to meet a client at 9 o'clock in the morning up in basically Paramus area. And I was actually meeting somebody who needed me to help them negotiate a car. So we went with their car. First I had to wait because they actually didn't get there. They didn't know where the place was, so I had to wait. And they got there, and then we got to the dealership, and we were trying to find out the valuation of the person's car, and she wasn't really wanting me to give them any information, and they wanted basic information like just her first name. They wanted to check the mileage of the car, some basic things. And she was being very careful about that, and I understand. So again, we gave very limited information. We got a deal. The deal was very wishy-washy. I mean, they did give it to me on a piece of paper. However, it was just not the greatest the way they did it. So here's what happened. They did the deal on paper, very basic, just literally writing some numbers down with a pen, and they gave me the sticker, price of the car, and all that. And they gave me the number, and then when I asked them for the valuation of the car, they said in the teens. I was like, well, that's really helpful. Well, we can't really give you an exact. And so that was the first thing. Then, as we're getting ready to leave, I said to him, that includes the first payment, right? First of all, he was a little sloppy in his handwriting. So I said, that's 36. No, that's 39. He says, for your car, that's just a better valuation for it. So we're going to do 39. So then I said, that includes the first payment, right? He says, oh, well, no. Then I have to raise them. I said, no. I said, if you're going to raise the payment to the car and not include that, we're out of here. He says, well, if that makes like a difference to you, I probably can throw it in. I'm like, what is this nonsense I'm saying to myself? So we're leaving the dealership. As I'm leaving, then we first met the manager. Then I met the general manager. He was chasing me as I was leaving. I said, we have to be somewhere else. So we went to this other dealer, and this other dealer we went to, well, I wound up going to the one place, but then she said that it's in this other town. So we went there, but then they were closed. They moved back to the place I originally thought it was at. So we go there, and this guy was a real trip. First of all, they had 10 salespeople, but all 10 of them were on the road because at this dealership, they don't trust people to drive cars, so they have to go with them. I've never heard of this in a million years. Okay, so the next thing that happens after all this is, I said, we just want to know the number. He gives me the number. The number is higher than the number I got at this one dealership. Okay, and I'm purposely not telling you the dealerships for privacy reasons. So then after that, I said, okay, let's go to this other place and we'll get a price there. So he basically told us that she was upside down on the car. And he was giving numbers, and then he's like, we don't want to buy your car. And so they had that same dealership there that would deal with that car. Then I found out that she was over actually 1,000 miles. So that would be like, in the rough numbers, would be like $350 or $450 on the turn-in. So we went there. Then I called this other place to match kind of where we were today, because the first deal, even though I didn't like those people, their deal wasn't terrible. They just weren't really upfront with everything. So I called this one dealer, and a lot of car dealers, they're just terrible. And so I told him the deal. He says, well, what are you paying? I said, that wouldn't be good negotiating, right? If I actually told you what we're going to pay, right? That wouldn't be fair. So I said, either going to do the deal or not. I told you where I wanted to be. I said, I'll give you 2 hours. If you don't call me back, I assume you can't do the deal. So he didn't call me back. I'm probably going to reach out to somebody tomorrow, one more place. But if not, I'm going to try to go back and hedge a little bit on this deal. What happened to me many years ago was I got beat on a deal. And after that happened, I said to my father and my friends, I said, I'm never going to let this happen again. So I am very thorough with the way I do negotiations. One time they didn't have a good deal for me, so I just did month to month for 6 months until I got the right deal. I never let them pressure me into saying I have to take the car now. So that's what I was saying. And this is my car. I was negotiating it for this lady. So I'm going to call tomorrow and see what they can do. And so a lot of salespeople in the car industry, I don't want to use any slang terms. I'm never going to curse, but any slang terms, they're just terrible. They're like bottom of the bucket, a lot of them. And so I'm going to reach out to another car dealership that had the same as this first one, but a car that was a higher valued car was actually less money than the same car she had that was in a lower class. Anyway, all right. So after that all went through, the person asked me to help them get to a destination because they had to be somewhere tomorrow morning, and they asked if we could do a test drive. So I said, sure. So I just said, follow me, and I showed her how to get to the place, and she did another test drive later. So then what happened was I had to go pick up a part from the office that was coming in because I had an onboarding with this supposedly sales engineer. So, I was expecting the guy to be knowledgeable. I mean, I could figure the whole thing out myself, but I was expecting to be at least be knowledgeable. The guy was very nice. He was on time and all that. And it went from like 3 to basically 4 o'clock. He had a hard stop at 4. It was supposed to go 3:45. So we plugged in the box. He knew nothing about the box, okay? We're trying a new BCDR solution, basically, business continuity disaster recovery. And he knew nothing about the box. This is my first time having the box in my hand. He knew absolutely nothing. And all the information he gave me was wrong, like, the light doesn't go green until you have an agent, but that's not true. It goes green once it checks in. So he just knew like nothing, all right, with all due respect. So I'm asking him questions, and he doesn't really know. And so I discovered he didn't really know because a little while later, which was just a few hours ago, I was playing with their AI agent, which is in their tool. You can enable it. And everything he was saying, most of it was wrong. And I was like, this is supposed to be a sales engineer. He did not even know the product. And I told the AI agent, I said, all due respect, I said, the person who was with me today, your sales team, they need to actually get trained on the product and not pretend they know it. I probably know more on the product, and I've only had the product less than a few hours. So I wasn't happy with that. I was getting ready for a deployment. The deployment is actually tomorrow. So I was getting ready for that deployment. And actually, I got asked by a friend of mine from church, say, could I read tomorrow? And I said, all right. So I said, okay. I figured I would be able to go to bed early and be fine. So I'm reading tomorrow. And then after that, I'm planning on going around and giving some of these new flyers out to prospective chamber members to drum up some membership for our September 11th event, our Grow and Connect Franklin Lakes Chamber Grow and Connect event, which is about community first, relationship second, and business, if there's a fit, naturally following third. So that was going on. That's going to happen tomorrow. And so all in all, it was a pretty good deal, day, I should say. There was a company that actually owed me some money for quite a long time, and there was something we were working on, and we finally got that to be resolved. There was something we were settling on, and then they were able to negotiate something down, so they owed us money back. So I got an email today saying that they negotiated down and that they're closing it, and we're going to get the check soon. So I had that, and what else? I confirmed a client that I'm going to see next week. You'll actually get to hear me on that because you follow me on Thursday and the client's on Thursday. So it was fun, but the thing that was interesting today for me about this company, without giving the name of the company, they basically just, I don't know, they just didn't, how can I say, they just didn't really know the product. And one thing I've learned being in business a long time, being an engineer, going for my next master's, going for my PhD, if you don't know something, don't say you know it. I always say, gee, I'm not sure. Let me check on it. I'll get back to you. Okay. His response most of the time was, well, this probably works like that. Then I asked him a more granular question. He didn't even know about an option. So we could use that today. I guess you could. He had no idea. I'm like, this is a sales engineer? A sales engineer is supposed to be somebody that knows the product and advises you how to use it. So was not very pleased about that. Spoke to my team earlier today about doing some things, finishing up some flyers and whatnot. So that was done. Today was a busy day. Lunchtime, I went to one of my favorite places for lunch, and I had them do lasagna, for Diablo style. Yeah, for Diablo. And so I have them basically, it's a meat lasagna. I had them cut in half, so half was for there and half was for later. So I had that for dinner, and I also had half for lunch. So that was really good, and that was pretty much it. So today was an interesting day, guys. Sorry I didn't get a chance to film. Like I said, when there's just a lot happening. So the next time you're going to get to follow me around is going to be Monday. So again, tomorrow should be interesting, going around to some of these businesses, giving them the social proof of the flyer that so many people attended. So that's going to be a good thing. I also did reach out to 2 business types. So every day I've been reaching out to 2 business types. Today, I think I reached out to, let's see what I do today. I did landscapers. And who else did I reach out to? I did landscapers today. Oh, and I did dentist office. So I did 5 of each type, and I sent them basically personalized emails. Oh, and I also at 4 o'clock, something today, I launched the Chamber's email about our event coming up on September 11th. So we had a lot of people attend the event. I was really pleased with that. But the catch is getting them to sign up for another event and getting them to join the Chamber. So I realized there's a trust point. So today there was a lot going on, and I was pleased that everything kind of fell into place nicely. What else do I have going on? Getting ready to finalize and register for classes, what I want to do for school at Montclair State University, so that's coming up. Oh, by the way, when I start school, hopefully I'm in school the day that I do a day in the life, or I might switch, because I definitely want to do a day in the life when I'm at campus. So hopefully that will be the day. Otherwise, I might have to switch the day in the life. We'll have to see. But I really want you guys to see how campus works and things like that. So today was a very interesting day. A lot of things got done. I'm ready for the deployment to go to my client. So that'll be like 11 o'clock tomorrow. And then I'll probably take around 3 or 4 hours to get that deployment working and making sure everything is smooth. And that's pretty much about it. What else can I tell you about today? So did all those things. Oh, then the person called me back because they had questions about something they were doing tomorrow. Again, I'm not going to get into the personal details. And then I was explaining some things of what they could do and not do and stuff like that. So I explained. I also talked to them more about the car and what I was working on and things like that. So we're trying to come up with a deal to finalize everything on Monday. That is the goal. But all in all, guys, I have to tell you, today was a busy day. There was a lot that transpired. A lot happened, which I'm really pleased with. And also, I want to let you know that, when you're in sales, okay, I don't care whether you're selling me a widget, you're selling me a faucet, or you're selling me carpeting. It doesn't really matter, right? If you don't know the product, your reputation goes right down. And the funny thing is the guy's like, well, you have my phone number so you can reach out to me. So my question is, why would I go reach out to you if you couldn't even answer any of my questions? He was very keen about, well, you can go here to our portal, you can click here and you get a quote and then we'll approve it and then you can pay for it. I'm like, you're basically just all about trying to make money, but you don't really know what you're selling. And the first thing I was going to say to myself, dude, you need to go learn and play with these boxes a little bit. You need to understand how they actually work. Then I asked him a question, well, can we go do that? Well, I can't really do that on mine. I'm all kind of set up. What the heck was the purpose of this call? He couldn't do anything. Oh, well, I can just show you where they are. Well, we can't deploy one. No, we're hoping to deploy yours. So you don't have one you could. No, I don't. What the heck kind of call was that? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it, I don't know, a 4 or a 5. He was nice and all that. I get that, but he wasn't knowledgeable. He didn't have a proper test environment. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that, if I have to ask you that question? So was not happy with that, but I did spend at least an hour or so playing around with the box and using their AI agent and asking it all kinds of questions. And I found out a lot of stuff he told me was incorrect. So I learned a lot of things and things they were talking about, like virtualize. I'm like, you can't virtualize unless you take the whole server. He's like, no, you don't have to. And I checked it. I'm like, of course you have to have the image, right? They're not making their own server. So that was kind of interesting. We went there and it was just fun. It was fun to do that and to play with the box. So I'm excited to roll out our first deployment tomorrow, and that'll go well, and then we'll do another deployment, and then hopefully we'll get some new clients on. Right now, we're just kind of converting one vendor that basically the reason we're leaving them, I'm going to let you know. One is we have to spend a lot of money to maintain our cloud infrastructure to be able to handle their ever-changing environments and updates and stuff. But here's the best part, okay? I'm not going to give you the name of the company because that's really not fair and that's not proper school. This company decided about a couple years ago, we have to do our own billing. Now, I don't mean for our clients, which we do. we have to tell them how many licenses we use every month. And then they send it over our aggregator and they bill us. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? Like, really? So I did the math and I added things up and I said, gee, what it's costing us to maintain and, build our servers and everything. I said, we're not going to be saving any money, but we're going to have a better solution. And here's the best part about the solution. So you have to be on board with it for a year. If you have a client and they leave you before the year, you have basically 60 or 90 days to redeploy it, or you have to buy the box. Okay, pretty straightforward. But I think the interesting thing with a lot is, so I usually sell this as a yearly contract. Even if we bill it monthly, I tell them you're married to it for at least a year. So that's kind of how that works. And all in all, guys, I have to tell you that this day today and playing with this BCDR and learning how BCDR works, how their BCDR works, it works well, but you also have to basically mirror the server. So you have to back up the server into an image. So when they virtualize, they're bringing your server back online again, which is interesting. That's fine. So they're not really doing anything more than being a backup device, restore device, and things like that. And they have a nice AI agent in there. But it was really interesting to just learn that they did not understand their own box. And this is a sales engineer. Oh, my gosh. All right. So we made another change today, by the way. So starting with Monday, we're only going to have 7 reels. Well, if I get my other hand's tied to the phone, 7 reels a week. And so we're doing that to cut back on our content. We're hoping that might help the algorithm a little bit. And there'll be another 7. They're not reels. They're just going to be topics that we talk about on the tech show. Since tomorrow's a little busy, I actually did record the Jay Moore Tech Talk show today and scheduled to rebroadcast tomorrow, Friday at 5 p.m. So sometimes I do that, and that kind of helps. So that's pretty much that. I also checked in with one of our doctors to see if he need us. Somebody still called me last week saying, hey, I need you. But tomorrow should go pretty smoothly. 11, 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 3. Probably be there at about 3, 4 o'clock. So maybe about a 3-4 hour deployment roughly. And I'm pretty sure that's going to go really smoothly. But again, tomorrow morning, I have to leave early. Then I have church. Like I said, at 7:30, I read. As you guys know, I lecture on Mondays. But this one lady asked if I could read for her on today. She also asked, could I read next week? And I said, I don't know, because school's starting up. And I didn't want to tell her no right away, but it's probably going to be no, because I got a lot happening. And that Thursday, I have to head down the shore for this client. And then the next thing is there's an ice cream social for $1 to one of the chambers I belong to down there. So that's kind of cool. And so, yeah, a lot of interesting things and just kind of planning stuff. So lots of stuff happening. Oh, we started making some other changes on our chamber site because we wanted to make the social media system a lot more fluid. A lot of chamber systems, I'll be honest, they suck. We wrote a web content management system a while back, but we had to add management and chamber management. If you're hearing that lady talking around, so I have a thermostat. I've had this for a few years. I actually just should take it and throw it out. It has a bug. Anytime it hears a voice too loud, it'll say something like, I can't connect to the internet. It's a Honeywell, and it's a bug. They took it off the market, and they never, ever fixed it. So one of these days, I'll have to throw it out and get another one because it's supposed to be a voice thermostat. I even turned off the voice option, and she still, interacts. And this is, I can't get it to the internet. So just a poor design. It's a great touch thermostat, but again. So that's pretty much what's happened with me. So the reels will start on this week, and I only have to do 7, so that's great. It's a lot less time. I'm going to work on making the reels more creative. That's one thing I'm going to work on. And then I'll talk about those on the show next week, Friday, not tomorrow, but the next week. Then I'll talk about the other 7. So there'll still be 14 on there, so that'll be kind of cool. What else can I tell you about today? Today was a good day. Today started out with a hot day around the 85, 90s. And then right after I finished doing all these car, shopping price excursions, it started to rain. And I'm driving back, and it's kind of pouring. And yeah, I got the device, then I went back home. And then we had another thing. So we had another vendor today. This was interesting. So we had a vendor that reached out to us, I'm going to say 3 or 4 months ago, okay? They want us to get certified in the product. We did. I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but this particular company wanted us to get certified. It was a no-brainer. I mean, literally, It was like some real keep it simple stupid. I mean, I've done different things for like Verifone and other POS systems. So the way they work is they don't pay you unless they deploy you. Pretty fair, right? So we did one, and then they said, oh, we're going to send you stock. Great. So they finally send us stock. They send us pin pads. They send us the machines. They send us extra cables, but they don't send us the lock cable or the key because that's kind of proprietary, and there's a security item, so they don't send that. And so on top of all that, which is kind of interesting, got one and went to the store a while back, and the lady didn't have anything technically wrong. She lost her key. So that's not even a technical issue. We shouldn't even be deployed for that. I told their TAC team that the customer didn't understand and you guys didn't educate her that they shouldn't be coming to us. This is something they ordered directly from their procurement to get that part from whoever it was, Verifone or whoever. And so basically there's a cable and then there's a lock. You have to put there's a screw you have to put in, then you put the lock over the screw and you lock it, and that prevents the device from being stolen. And so we hadn't got any calls for, I'm going to say, a couple weeks. So then all of a sudden, I was getting back from vacation. This was a while back. And the lady's like, oh, can you go? And I was like, no, I just got back from vacation. I'm really busy right now. I'm not going to be available, as I told you, till next week. I told you that on the schedule. But these people don't listen. They're the kind of people that call you 100 times. They're the kind of people that I don't answer their calls because they call 100 times and they call you for something that's outside of your territory. If you're in New Jersey, oh, we got something down in Maine. Well, I'm sorry. Do you have like access to Google or a map? Maybe you should check that. Where you're telling me to go up in Cape May, that's nowhere near Bergen or Morris County. I'm sorry. Okay, fine. So then about a few weeks later, I still don't get any business, okay? Because they're giving me these weird things. Then they want to send me to some forsaken place another 3 hours away. I said, are you going to pay for that? Oh, we don't pay for that. What about the tolls? I said, you can't expect me to go 3 hours and just pay me. You can't. That's not going to work. And of course, they don't pay for travel and all this stuff. So anyway, after that happened, I went away again. And they got a little annoyed. I told them I was going away. They said, well, we want to get your equipment back right away. I said, okay, fine. I said, give me a chance. When I get back, I said, give me a week. I said, and let's decide if it's going to work. You guys, I'll make sure I'm available that week. First week goodbye, second week goodbye. They didn't give me a ticket. And, they were complaining and complaining and complaining. So I reached out to them literally just the other day and said, hey, and I reached out to their managers, to their superior people. I said, you've wasted my company's time. You really don't have the resources or the job tickets. And to keep us on your call for a month, and then you get upset that we can't make it, and you're only giving us 1 or 2 a month, and you said you're going to give us like 7 or maybe, 10 a month. Like, that's a big problem, right? So I complained to this person. They never responded back. Even the administrative people never responded back. I said, look, send us a ticket, basically a FedEx or UPS label, and we'll return them, but send me some boxes. Okay. They sent me one label the other day. I said, I asked you for 4. So I sent them another email back. I said, look, we'll take as long as you want. If you want us to take a month or 3 months or 6 months, just keep dragging your feet and we'll get them back to you maybe before the end of the year, maybe next year. Who knows? So my message kind of hit some ground because I sent it to a lot of different managers. And they said, oh, well, can you do this? Can you send John 4 tags? Fine. Where are my boxes? Nobody gets back to me. So now I got the 4 labels, but I don't have the boxes, and I'm not paying to buy boxes to send product back. So again, this company is probably going to get axed, I'm going to say within the next 6 months or less, because they are basically not delivering. And so we look at companies to see if they're profitable or not. And this was a pretty large company. It was a woman-owned company, and nothing wrong with that. I think that's fine. But reaching these people, oh my gosh, it's like an act of frustration. You have to block their calls. They call you very early in the morning. So you have to block them. They call you with jobs that don't even make sense here. Oh, we need you to go out to Connecticut. Hello, I'm in New Jersey. Oh, would you be available? Yeah, per hour. Oh, sorry, we can't pay you per hour, and we can't pay you for tolls. Well, then I guess I'm not going. So a lot of the times, these people, they get jobs, and they've done this before. So this is why we're probably going to be saying goodbye to them, I think, the end of this year, early next, because they waste our time telling us they're going to have all these projects, and they don't. We've been with this company for a while. And I'll let you know, when they brought us on board, we didn't get our first ticket until 3 years after we were with the company. Like, that's just crazy. So we have an A+ rating with them. They sent us to some big department stores. And some of the people they sent us to were really rude. We're always very nice. They don't even tell us which copier, which machine we're working on. Oh, it's somewhere in the men's department. Okay, well, which one? There's 4 machines. Oh, we have to ask somebody. So now I ask somebody, it's like, oh, well, we're in a meeting right now. We can't help you. Well, I'm here, and I'm on the clock. Oh, well, you'll have to come back. So then I call them and tell them, and then they close the ticket, and we close it, and the store didn't want to work with us. Okay, we'll work another time. And they're just very, how do I say this in a nice way? They're just very poorly managed. So they also play this game, which we really love. Let's say they got a ticket for X dollars, right? And we give them our rate. If they get a lower rate and they've contracted to us, they will say, sorry, we don't need you. We're going with someone else. And I'm sorry, guys, but that's rude. When you have already told somebody that they've got the task and now you bid it out because someone's lower, that's just rude. You don't do things like that. And the people, just to give you an example, they recycle people. People I've talked to, they don't last very long. I think I've been on 12 dispatchers in a few years. And they just they're not consistent, okay? They get people that, this is the kind of company that they call you a million times. So they gave you the ticket, you signed it. So now they call you the day before. I've already confirmed I'm coming. They call again the day before. I go, look, if you call me one more time, I'm going to drop the job and I'm going to tell you I'm not coming. You've called me twice yesterday, called me 2 times today. Now you're calling me while I'm on the job. I don't have time for this. I really don't have time for these games. And they do this, you know why? Because they get techs that are low level and they don't show up. So I got to the point, I said to myself, I don't think our company wants to do this anymore. So we're probably going to just slowly, just dissolve them, because we look at our profit tables, right? And we could tell how many tickets we're getting, how many tasks and stuff. And they only call us now when they've got a problem that no one else can fix. And I give them a rate. I'm like, this is the rate. If you want it, great. If you don't, I'm sorry. And then they expect us to just drop everything for them. Remember, they're not spending a lot of money with us. Drop everything for them today because we have an emergency. Yeah, okay, well, that's double time. Oh, sorry, we can't pay double time. Well, then I guess you got to call someone else. So that was a very interesting thing. So I've got to get these Veriphones, at least I think 5 or 6 of them, and these supplies back to them. Basically, if you don't get them back to them in so many days, they have what they call a core charge. And since they have my bank account, they just take money out. So we definitely got to break this relationship up very soon. Oh, what else is new? So one of my other companies, this company I think I told you was jerking us around with the PCI compliance. And I have a few companies, and this one company, okay, I'm going to mention, not the company, but I'm going to mention the company that we got rid of. So the company was called Leaders Merchant Services. So Leaders Merchant Services subs out to another company, which now just got basically bought out, and now they're called PaySafe, and they're from France. And if you have to deal with France, well, that's a whole other project and a half. After all, France is running Optimum, and that's probably a big reason why they're always going down 90% of the time, because they don't want to spend the money they need to actually get the service to work. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So with all this happening, you could probably understand, what's going on. And again, we've complied with PCI compliance for all these other companies. No problems, no issues. We can't get a hold of their PCI compliance. They're nailing us for a couple fees. First of all, they started nailing us about 6-7 months back, hitting us with a mandatory fee because we didn't go over we near our minimum. That wasn't our contract. And then they started charging us another $79 or $89 because we're not PCI compliant. We didn't know we're not PCI compliant. We log in their system is down. We wait, we log in, we open a ticket, and it's just a joke. And so that's been going on for a while. So I basically made a claim to our bank. They're investigating. But it took me a week to get their service canceled. Now, I didn't cancel them until I brought another processor on. But like, I can't believe that it took us a week and we couldn't cancel their system. I said, no, you cancel our account, okay? Your system's broken. I don't have time for this nonsense, okay? Another reason we're leaving you. So then I sent them a formal letter back and forth, and a DocuSign. They finally sent the DocuSign yesterday. I signed the DocuSign, and the account's going to be closed in 30 days. And I told them to basically credit all fees back, and you have no further authorization to come back for any money. Needless to say, we were also put a dispute in with our bank for over $1,000 for them taking money out, so that's another issue. But we got rid of them. So PaySafe was a complete nightmare. I mean, just a real nightmare. So that's finally coming to a close, and I'm very happy that we got rid of them. Actually, really happy that we got rid of them. So that's something that was interesting. What else can I tell you that's been interesting? I think for this week, you followed me before, so you know what I did, earlier in the week on Monday. But today, Thursday, like I said, was basically helping that lady go around with, trying to figure out, the best price and things like that. And then trying to figure out the dealers, because a lot of these dealers, they still play games. So I'm right up front saying, look, I get good deals on my cars, and I'm going to tell you why. About 25 years ago, I got ripped off on a car. And I said, that's never going to happen again. Then I made a friend of mine who moved away, and he kind of showed me how to negotiate cars. And now I kind of learn how the values work, the Kelley Blue Book value, what residual in the car means, and all these different things. And I've also learned how to walk out of a dealership. Like, oh, well, your car lease is expiring? It is. But I'm just going to do month to month. I'm in no rush. I don't have to do anything. Well, yeah, I can just renew month to month, and it's fine. So these are the things you have to realize. And I think when you have these challenges and you have these situations, they don't happen to you again because now you're aware of how they're happening. I told you about what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So today was a pretty good day. But again, lots of stuff is still kind of percolating and changing around. The biggest thing right now is getting more chamber management, members, pardon me, and to getting people to buy into what we're doing. So again, a lot of people out there, they think a chamber is you pay money, you get somewhere, and then you're going to get business. That's not how it works. So we are community first, relationship second, and business third. So when I was going around to these car dealerships today, I gave them a brochure about our chamber and stuff, and I said, we're about community first, relationship second, and business only if it's fit naturally following third. When I said that to them, their eye contact just dropped. That told me that they don't want to put up with that. They're not a relationship kind of people, set of people. They are people that basically just want to get the deal. They don't care how they abuse you. They just want to get the deal. And so that's why whenever I do a car deal, I'm very careful about everything from no money down to what I'm going to do. And I'm prepared to walk because I don't need that car. I can go somewhere else. And when they know that you're going to just walk, it changes the whole dynamic, okay? Changes the whole complete dynamic. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little snapshot. I know we did this all in one video here, not a whole bunch of clips that I put together. But I wanted to go through and share. Hopefully Monday, I'll be able to do some more day in the life. I think I'm going with her to negotiate the car, finalize it, and go from there. Monday, I do the readings and stuff like that. So I just want to share with you how my day went, and I hopefully that you are learning some lessons that you can apply to your own life. You could check out more at believemeachieve.com. You can also check out Jason Academy if you want to watch other day in the lives. On Jason Academy, just go to podcast. You'll see the IFYL podcast right below. You're going to see A Day in the Life with John are right there. And you can replay any of these. Some of them are 5 minutes, some are 20, some are 30, a little longer, some are shorter. But I hope the most important thing is that you're getting a bird's eye view into the back of the day in the life with me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, great rest of your evening, and I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me and how I spent my day.